I'm just sick of them. I just can't do it anymore.
I'm exhausted.
I can't keep getting to know people. I have no more capacity. I'm full.
Yeah.
And I'm not like buying any more room, like any more storage. This is it.
I just feel
3 more of you. I've already lowered the number. A second ago it was 5. Now it's 3 because I've realized no, I actually think I'll be tired still.
You can take a break and get back at it when you want to.
It's just so tiring.
I feel like it has and it hasn't. Things have changed so much for like the apps and online dating. I feel like since I've started, I also feel like an old person, so like talking this way, like back in my day, but at the same time, it's online dating. Like the internet has just changed so much in 10 years. And I haven't actually, I shouldn't say that.
What?
I don't want to talk about how long I've been online dating.
Wait, how long have you?
I think I don't want to figure it out is what I was about to do.
All right. So for your safety and sanity.
Yeah. I mean, I will
we'll just mosey on.
I'll at least divulge, like, when I started online dating, like, my first dating profile was, I think, Zeusk.
Look, I'll be honest. When I made mine, I mean, I want to say probably I started with Omegle. That's going to be where I started.
Oh, sure.
With that weird shit. That should have been supervised way better.
Technically a dating app?
Depends on how you look at it, because I
think it made a dating app if you try hard enough.
Listen, first off, before I start, that should have been supervised way better.
Absolutely.
Way
still should.
better. To this
still
day,
exists.
so much bad stuff happens on there.
Yeah.
But I made friends with this 15-year-old kid in, like, Brazil who I was like, we should fall in love. And so that was very real and serious for me. And we did friend each other. And he was so beautiful. And I've, like, kept up with his life still. He's happy.
Good for him.
Good for him. I don't know where
it's rare these days.
Yeah. I can't say the same. I'm glad my ex is doing better than I am. I'm just kidding.
That's that weird shit, too, that, like, if you still have people's phone numbers and stuff in your phone, and then on new social media, all the algorithms and stuff for, like, finding people to connect with, it's, like, from contacts, and it's, like,
those are
some
so funny
guy
to
I
me.
Talked to years ago.
Those are hilarious
I was
to
like,
me.
Shit, I still have his number. Also, why are you showing me this? This is triggering.
Yes, but it's so funny because I used to just put people in my phone as descriptions, and a lot of times I would meet people at parties, and so I still have those are like saved in my phone. So people on like Instagram will pop up and it'll be like, how do I know them? And I'll look in my phone and it'll be like, weird girl from Delta Chi, or girl crying in bathroom, or don't talk to this guy again, don't pick up. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. You got the job. I remember that. And I'm glad you left him, Delta Chi girl. I never liked him anyway.
No.
But that is the highlight of social media. I do like seeing some of that too. The dating can fuck itself.
Yeah.
It's just not my style. It never has been, because I'm also like really afraid of people at the same time of like dying.
Yeah.
Also, so sorry, everybody. We're sounding very negative today. We're in good moods.
I'm also still kind of getting over being sick. If you saw our social media, but I apologize that it's been a while, but I was sick. So
she goes to one wedding and she's down for a week and a half.
My voice was so hoarse for 2 days after, and I thought I was 3 days. Yeah. I thought I was still just recovering from the wedding, and then it turned into, like, sinus stuff. I was like, oh, wait, I'm actually sick.
One might ask, what the fuck went down at the wedding?
A week later, I have, like, a fever of 101.7.
She's been limping, too. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a great wedding.
She'll get her hearing back in her left ear any day now, the doc says. Any day.
I kicked my sinus infection though,
Yeah.
so.
Woo! So we're back, baby. And we missed you all.
We did. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for being patient with us. And in case this is your first time listening to us, I'm Bree.
I'm Abby.
And we are your rent-free roommates. Welcome. Happy to have you. Hope you come back. We are, right there with you, just trying to get through.
That's the vibe for today, in case you couldn't tell from the way we started talking. We're just trying to get through.
Where are you at mentally? Us too.
Oh, I'm up, I'm up.
It was a good day. It was a good day today.
I'm here. We're here.
This might be a tough one for you guys to get through. I hope I'm not absolute torture to listen to this episode.
But you can let us know in the comments if she was. Roast Brie. Funniest comment
Wow.
wins. You really
so
know.
Fucking gross listening to you.
You should have taken another week off.
Who even gets a sinus infection?
LOL. Hashtag old. Hashtag can't party. But anyway, if this was anybody's first time tuning in, Bree and I are your rent-free roommates, and we love to hear everything that's going on in your life, from the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. Tell us about it all.
The sad, the pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, nobody can empathize better than us. Sad to say that I was kind of boasting about that. But anyway, you can email us at rentfreeroommates@gmail.com. And if you're not quite ready to spill all the tea to us, how about you just follow us on social media? We'll accept that as well until you get comfortable, babe.
A like, a comment, a subscribe if you want to come on back.
A share?
Know when we actually come back.
We'll keep you on your toes. And
Yeah.
really, because we're so inconsistent, you should really just follow us on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Social media and subscribe. That way you won't miss it.
Yeah. Or just check in with us.
Yeah, keep tabs.
Remind us. Remind us. Hey, shouldn't you guys have posted today? Fuck.
What are you guys doing?
Fuck.
Who's sick now?
It's going to be Brie. It's going to be Brie. It's not going to be me. But one thing about me is I don't get sick.
You were just sick.
No. I was sick 4 months ago.
That was not 4 months ago.
November.
Yeah. It's January.
I know. I was just like hoping you weren't going to do the math. So that's on me a little bit.
To be fair, I didn't. I just said the month.
But here's the thing. I feel like it was way in the beginning of November. So in my mind, that's 3. So basically 4. So I haven't been sick. I haven't been sick for 6 years.
I wish whoever does my paychecks thought the way you do.
I wish you were a fucking accountant, man. I'd be fucking rich. We'd all be so rich and I would be in jail. Because there's no way I should have been an accountant in the first place. So I committed fraud somewhere along the way.
You're fudging that resume just like...
Just like Milo from Below Deck. And oh my God, if she sees this, I mean, girl, teach me how to lie on a resume.
Yeah. Your Ratatouille picture was really convincing. How did you get a chef job on a super yacht?
We'll never know. And I think it should be studied at colleges.
Leave some comments if you love Below Deck. We love Below Deck.
Please. I will talk your ear off. Let Bree and Devin have a break. They are held a little bit hostage with it.
I enjoy it.
It is my life. I just love the tea on the sea. What's better?
Have they used that yet? You gotta
No.
be marketing for...
Trademarked right here, Abby Carlson. I need the money, so you cannot have this unless you pay me.
Hello, Bravo.
Do I have a deal for you? But you know whose tea I love more? Yours. Mm-hmm. The listeners. The roomies. The writers.
The writers of our show.
The ones who are letting us talk to them today. Mm-hmm. And we so appreciate you.
We do.
And we love you. Because honestly, both of these stories are intensely unique in their own ways.
Yeah.
I feel like very much so. Like I feel like they go 0 to 60 so fast.
Yeah. So now that we really amped it up, let's we'll get into it.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Now you want to hear.
Well, I'm just like, I'm like, don't you have somewhere to be? Why are we?
I think you need to get somewhere.
And then you know what would, but you know what would also make me mad is like she would be so fucking shocked when Swiper would steal her shit. When she would, and like clearly you had to say X amount of times before. How this is always a surprise, and I get it, it's a kid's show. But me as a kid, I'm so like, I don't have the time for it, and so. She always waited until he was like inches from her, and she was like, "Say Swiper," and then she's like mid saying it, and he takes her shit, and then we have a whole side adventure, and I didn't like it, and I'm just wondering if that said something about me as a person.
I did like when Swiper actually swiped things.
Because I felt like she deserved it at that point. I'm like, you've been doing this for how long, and he's clearly a menace. No.
Mine was more Blue's Clues, which I loved because we love Steve.
I liked Blue's Clues.
And I wouldn't talk back to the screen all the time. Sometimes I was like kind of embarrassed even though I'm alone, but I was like, this is weird. I had far more patience for Steve than for Dora. Probably does say something about you and I.
I realized at a very young age I hated repeating myself. And I hated like when shit got out of pocket when it didn't need to be. Like we could have easily dealt with Swiper so many different times. It's ridiculous.
Now onto a very different topic. From Dora to dating.
Day and night. Let's do it.
All right. Casual first date knew way too much personal information about me and my family. First date for drinks at a bar off a dating app. She lived a few hours away. Oh, she lived a few hours away, so it was casual encounter. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Halfway, she lists off a ton of personal info about me, where I'm from, my family, their occupations, companies, criminal records, bankruptcies, etc. Said the background check was mainly for safety. The date went decent, went back to hers, and I even crashed for the night. I played it off, but it bothered me. I understand a woman's need to vet the man they're, in parentheses, casually dating, but felt like my privacy was violated, especially with having so much information about my family and I. How would you feel?
First off, wow, don't you just hate the internet in that regard too? Like hate and love it. It's really scary how much people can find out about you.
Yeah.
And it's really unnerving because just me, myself, not to sound crazy, but like I've looked people up too. Mm-hmm. And not gone as deep as she has, but like just knowing that it is there and the possibilities is creepy.
Well, and I appreciate that he does call that out, that like the writer, understands that like this is a normal thing that is done. It's like, that's not the crazy part that she did the background check.
Yeah.
It's that she told him everything that she learned from it. But so I do appreciate that because that is an unfortunate like reality that people who are dating have to deal with, and some people do go through with that. And
you know what's interesting? I wonder, do you think she listed all that? Because I wonder how quickly in the date she said it. Because maybe she was scared and was like, I know all this stuff about you, by the way. So like, just in case you're trying to try anything.
Maybe.
I wonder. Like, but like, I don't know. Because it's like, if you want something to go well, would you want to do that right away? Or would you want to keep that in your back pocket in case shit starts going south and being like, oh, you want to play? Yeah. No, I know X, Y, and Z about you. And so does my mother, my sister, my brother. That's what I would do. I wouldn't play all my cards right away.
Well, exactly. Like, that's the weirdest part about this, and why it's understandable that the writer felt uncomfortable that like hearing all of this stuff told to him about his own life and family, that especially that it's stuff outside of just him.
Yeah.
That does make it
bankruptcies.
Like it's just very.
Your uncle can't invest for shit.
Like, yeah, what if she told him something that he didn't even know?
Oh my God. Did you know you're adopted? Fuck.
Oh no.
Oh my God. The date is ruined. They're not going to call you, but they may hire you as a PI.
But yes, like it does speak a lot to how much information is so readily available on the internet. And I guess we have to be careful about that in some ways, but also on the side of like trying to be safe, it is helpful. But I almost do want to just like talk to this girl and be like,
because it is creepy a little bit. I think they're doing too much with that.
I want to know the reasoning for telling him all these things. Because I guess it's an unwritten rule. It's like, yes, you do the background check, but you don't tell him everything you learn.
See, it would be great to know from the writer how she approached all of this information. Like, did she just give a random, like, info spout, like, just out of nowhere? Or did it come up casually throughout the night and you just started ticking it?
Right.
I'm just curious just how she approached providing you with all of that information.
Yeah.
Because if she just started listing it, I would be far more, just in general.
Yeah.
It's
or
concerning.
If she started asking questions about some of the things that she learned, like,
yeah.
I wish I could have watched this date.
It would be a great one to watch from like a booth.
Yeah.
Like a fly on the wall for sure.
Yeah. Because I do just want to know, like, the motive behind it. Yeah. I don't know why it's an unwritten rule, but I guess for this reason, because while it is a good thing to do for yourself for safety, it also, the person knowing that, it just kind of, I guess, takes away any of the potential, like, spark or romance. Like, it makes it too clinical.
It does, a little bit.
It's like, oh, you already know all of this very personal stuff about me. It's hard for me to open up now because you just,
if you want to know something, you're just going to look for it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of an invasion of privacy in that regard too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, if you want to know something, you should ask me and want to ask me. So, and it's hard to be,
especially the family stuff.
Yeah. And those are the ones where I'm like, that's really strange. Why would you bring that up? And then like bankruptcies. That's just like, I know we were making jokes about it, but I would feel really uncomfortable myself if anybody said that to me. Like even a girl on the street, I would just be like, why do you feel the need to have that info, know that info, let alone tell me it?
Right.
It's just really like, like, what are you trying to get out of me with that?
Because I think it really should only be like, just make sure that you're, especially now, you heard me while I was reading, like, I didn't realize the first time I read this through that she came from a few hours away.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel casual to me. I'm not going a few hours away for anything casual.
No. Yeah. And yeah.
I just realized that. Like, what? So that just makes me question then the conversations ahead of this. How upfront were they with each other and honest that this is casual? And not that, like, how long have you guys been talking? Why was she so willing to go a few hours away for just drinks?
Yeah. Maybe we're just...
So,
Maybe we're just lazy. Maybe that's why we're single, because we're not willing to travel 3 hours. Maybe we don't want it enough.
I don't think there's any drinks 3 hours away that I can't get right here. And I've yet to meet somebody worth that.
But I'm just saying, I just feel like nobody wants to date anymore.
I just feel like you need to get up off your ass and date.
And just fucking date. That's so true. Anyway, no, I agree. I would think that, one, if you're driving 3 hours to meet somebody, you've been talking to them for at least a couple of weeks and wouldn't be so hasty to make that decision.
Yeah.
And if you are, maybe that's the only way I could understand you dropping that info. But then also I want to condemn you for doing that, because then you obviously don't feel safe. I don't know. It's just like, it's so devil's advocate here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that she was going a few hours away from wherever she's from makes even more sense than it already did that she did a background check. Because if I'm going to go a few hours away, I'm going to make sure that I know a little bit more about this person and know that I'm not getting myself into a dangerous situation. But I guess I have more questions than I thought I did. Because I'm like, whoa, I kind of missed some details here where I'm like, wow, it's just different for me. And maybe I don't know where the writer is from. I don't know where his date is from. So maybe that's more a typical thing, or people are more willing to do that when you don't live like in a city?
Yeah.
Question mark. Everything's just so close for us that I like don't have to go that far. And even going back home, it's like it's less than an hour away. So, and that feels so far away. Like I would never date somebody in the suburbs.
I mean, I've done like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And I don't think I have that level of commitment. I feel like even that, I'm like, I have to already be committed to you to go that far out of my way. Like if we started dating in the city and then you had something that like brought you an hour and a half away and we were already deep into it, then I'll commit to that. But I'm not going to start dating somebody that's that far away. But that's my own personal preference.
I would. So here's my hot take at the moment.
Okay.
From my perspective, it sounds like she's driving 3 hours away. Mm-hmm. Or at least willing to talk to somebody 3 hours away. Regardless, she's making some sort of possible commitment with that. The both of you are. Mm-hmm. So she's got interest. And if I'm going to see you in general, no matter who you are as a person, I'm looking into you in some way or the other. Mm-hmm. 'Cause I don't fucking know you. Not yet. My only hang up with the situation is the approach of it all. And that's what I want to know. Like, right. How did she tell you that information? Because if she just like dropped all of that on you, I think that's creepy and that's weird. And it's a little disappointing because I don't know. I would be really turned off as well.
Yeah.
I would be really turned off. I would be like, okay.
I would be freaked out.
Yeah, I would too. And I would just probably have more questions and ask, why did you feel the need to tell me all that?
Yeah.
What were you hoping to get? It's just weird, and I think it kind of blows the connection. And I would never and again, in my opinion too, which I find interesting, is unless I felt unsafe, I probably wouldn't reveal the super detailed information unless I was trying to also intimidate them and make them know that I know just as much about them and that this isn't going to work out how they think it is.
Right. It's like the verbal version of like staring a person in the eyes.
Exactly.
When you're, like, passing on the street.
So that's what
I'm
curious too.
You saw their face.
So that's what I want to know, because it's like if she did that out of fear, then I'm like, shame on you, my man. Maybe that's something on you. And, you know, that'd be an interesting thing to know. But if she was just like, this is what I know about you, I would be like, wow.
Yeah. Or if that's how she was choosing to make conversation, which then makes me want, like, to this girl that went on the date with the writer, makes me want to be like, did you intend to come off as creepy? Was this a defense mechanism? Did you intend to kind of put a little fear in him? And then why? Because it's valid if you felt something that you felt like you needed, like if it was defensive. But then if you didn't intend to come off this way, girl, this is how you're coming off.
Yeah, I would also want to know if the writer, if they talked to the girl afterwards or if they addressed how they felt about that. Like, did they let the girl know who they were on a date with? That, right. Yeah, you know, that's a little creepy that you just told me that. Can I ask why? That's fair, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the very least, if somebody was saying that shit to me, I'd be like, why? Are you about to murder me? No.
Truly, on either end, no matter who you are, you're allowed to,
I'd be like,
let it be known when you're uncomfortable.
Very much so. But if somebody was like, so your family lost the house in 2009, and like I would be like, excuse me? I'd be like, why do you know that? Like, what are you trying to do with that info? Why'd you tell me that?
Yeah.
So I mean, I would react the same way. So I would want to know why. So I mean,
right.
That's what I'm curious. I'm like, did you ask that person
yeah.
why they felt the need to share that with you?
I mean, and to the writer, no, it's not weird that you felt weird.
Yeah, and I feel like I sound like I'm not on your side and I'm like really mad at you. And I'm not, I swear. Like, I think what you feel is genuine as well.
Yeah, no, that's totally valid. And I also would have felt very odd, and it definitely would have turned me off. I mean, even like you said, in what you wrote, totally understand the reason for a background check, and that's also totally valid. It's just, it's just like
it's the overshare. It's the overshare. It's the part that makes it
It's a social awareness thing of like, you don't divulge that information to the person.
Yeah, like what else do you know about me? What else have you looked into? And then it goes on that whole invasion of privacy thing too. Mm-hmm. Is anything about me going to be a secret with you if I want it to be like private?
Right. Well, even I think it does go back into, if you're telling me all of this private stuff about me, now I am closed off. So it really is kind of, it's
counterproductive.
You're shooting yourself in the foot for that person opening up to you. Yeah. And that's such a big part of dating, is like letting yourself be vulnerable. So it's almost like, this might not be the best way to think about it for this girl, but like if you're doing the background checks and if you go that far into it, I do kind of feel like you don't need to know all of that information. Just make sure you're safe. But if you do get curious and you happen to find out all of this other information, if
send it to your friends.
Well, yeah, like that's the whole safety thing. But also just like, you don't tell them that, because if this does go further and they start, like maybe you forget about some of that stuff you learned, and then this person that you're dating tells you about that more personal stuff, that's a good sign. Then they're opening up to you and they're telling you about that stuff that's like, oh shit, yeah, I like found out all that stuff. Oh,
and then but like also you'll know if you're getting scammed or not too.
But yeah, I think maybe that's why it's an unwritten rule, and it's just like it's kind of uncouth to do that, of just like divulging all of this private information that you did in this background check, because now you're not allowing the other person to open up to you, and you're building a wall for them that you shouldn't be putting up if you're really trying to get into like a relationship or even just date in general.
Yeah, and I think it would be shocking as well to hear all of that info about you, because I mean, to your point, Bree, that is like, why would you tell me all of that? Yeah, I'm so concerned why you felt that was okay. But again, it just it takes a lot of the mystery out of dating too. Yeah, like, why are you here if you're already trying to like know all of this about me? Like, learn that.
Yeah, just leave something to the imagination, and leave something to talk about on the actual date. If you've found everything out, then where do we go from here?
Yeah, I part of me thinks that she did kind of like info drop, because it wasn't like it was said throughout the date. She said this, but he was like, she said all of this to me.
Yeah, that does make it weird. Which makes it's like, was it a nervous thing where she just kind of, it was like word vomit, or was she feeling unsafe? And then she just kind of like defensively was like, this, I know all of this about you.
Yeah, and when she said it too. Yeah, that's what I need to know.
It's very interesting. Yeah, it's an odd thing, and like we said, we don't fault you for being uncomfortable and feeling uncomfortable. I would have been too.
It's just also strange, and I just think maybe you two just shouldn't talk.
I have a feeling that's not happening anymore. I think that was the first and last date. Maybe like date closer to home.
Date closer to home.
That's to both of you. Like, girl, don't go 3 hours away for drinks.
No.
There's got to be more out there, unless you're like from Alaska.
God, that would be like awful.
So many people there.
In Alaska. Sorry.
But if you're from Alaska, you're great.
Sorry to all of that. It's like, I felt like that Kevin Hart meme there. When he tells him his age, he's like, damn. That's how I felt. My feelings Alaska just slipped. It's just because you have so much nighttime.
But thank you.
Oh my God, spoiler alert. We find out you're writing from Alaska. Ah! And you're like, no, Abby, I think you did hate me. I don't. And if you're from Alaska, you're cool.
Thank you for letting us talk about it. Talk about your situation. Thank you for sharing. And Wish you all the best of luck for future dates.
I do too. And if you don't mind, please let us know if you asked her any further questions on why she wanted to know that.
Yeah.
I want to know now just for my own well-being.
Yeah.
I need to know. I need this story to be finished for my sake.
Yeah.
So please feel free to follow.
Strangers.
Yes, follow up with us. We'll follow up. Our people will call your people. Okay? I fucking love Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne. That's all it is.
Oh.
No, I just want to be them. They're just so iconic to me. But did you grow up watching the Osbournes?
Mm-hmm.
How could you not?
My dad did too.
Like altered my brain chemistry.
He didn't grow up watching the Osbournes, but he did watch the Osbournes.
He grew up watching Ozzy when he was still playing.
That is true.
Yeah,
my
that's
dad
pretty
loved
fucking cool.
Black Sabbath.
Did he ever see them?
I think so, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. No, he didn't. Like that TikTok. Shut up. No, it's not.
But knowing my dad, like when I found that stuff out as a kid, I was like, what? It really was. It was that where I was like, no.
That's so cool.
You didn't like Black Sabbath.
That's so cool, though.
There's no way. It was a very
Anyway.
different side to him.
We love Ozzy. We love Sharon. You guys should listen to our podcast. So, with that being said, here we go. Should I cut contact with my extended family? My extended family has recently done something that makes me want to cut contact with them, but I don't know if I'm overreacting or not. Some background information. I'm 16 and have a rare condition that affects my digestive system, so I can't eat a lot of foods. Cinnamon is a big one. It can get me hospitalized and or killed. About a week ago, we had to go visit my grandparents for dinner. Everything seemed to go fine until the next day. I woke up with a lot of pain and my whole face had swollen, throat too, so I was struggling to breathe. I ended up getting hospitalized. Turns out my grandparents added a lot of cinnamon to the dessert we had. I'm really upset about this because I've been diagnosed for 2 years and they should have known already, but because it's not classed as an allergy, they don't see it as valid. I want to cut contact because I cannot risk this happening again because I might not get lucky this time, but I'm unsure if I'm overreacting and if I should give them a second chance because they are family.
That is I mean, that's...
Give yourself a minute. That is so tough. There's so many things I initially wanted to write down as just questions.
Yeah.
Because this is a really difficult thing to navigate. Because you have to wonder, I mean, how did the cinnamon get in there? And why did it slip people's minds is my biggest thing. Because at least with my family, if somebody has a certain like food like intolerance or an issue with certain food that's having, there is something made and it's known what they can and can't have. So it's really interesting to me that cinnamon got put in there and the fact that the writer didn't know about it. And that's what really irritates me about this, because somebody dropped the ball somewhere.
Yeah. My first question is, why is it not, or how is it not an allergy? That is a very extreme reaction for that to not be an allergy.
Yeah.
So is it just family not calling it an allergy?
Right.
Or is medically like, is this not actually an allergy? Which doesn't make any sense to me. It sounds like a very serious allergy.
It's a reaction to a food you're eating.
Yeah.
So
that's very serious and literally life-threatening.
Well, they said it's a digestive thing that they have.
But I mean, her throat was swelling.
Yeah, I know.
And her face swole. Like that's very serious. And you were hospitalized. I hope that did this extended family witness that reaction? Like, did you stay? Were you like staying at the grandparents? Or I just hope that this is a learning experience for the grandparents, because if you have some kind of opinion about dietary things, I mean, it's not okay. You can't, that's literally something you can't just force on another person. You can't just decide, when it's literally a medical, a medical issue that is going to send this person to the hospital, your granddaughter.
Yeah.
So I hope that they learned from this experience, if they were treating this as just something they had an opinion about, that they didn't think it was that big a deal. Clearly, very big deal. So, to our writer, feeling upset about this, you have every right to be upset. My other question, I guess, is, did they know? Were they aware? I know that you said that you've had this or been diagnosed for 2 years, I believe, and they should have known by now. You know, does your family talk? How's
that communication?
Yeah, because is there a small possibility that they somehow did not know about this? I don't think that's the case. You know, I think that they probably did know. And then I guess maybe kind of unfairly, how old are they? Did they forget? Not that it makes it okay. Clearly this is dangerous.
Correct. Yeah.
But, you know, is there the possibility that this was an accident, that it wasn't just them being stubborn?
Right.
And being like, well, I want cinnamon.
Correct. Yeah, those are all good questions to ask. And my question too, I think the best way to understand how you should approach the situation moving forward is, we need to first and foremost inform your grandparents what happened and
Absolutely.
what the result of this was, because that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And depending on how their reaction is to it, I think will tell you everything that you need to know. And that's where it comes back to, like, this is what's so important to me, is their reaction to this. I think will tell you what you need to know. And then if it is negative, I think back to what I was saying earlier about our discussions about, you know, family and like what it means. Right. Is then that's not family.
Right.
If they knew about this and willingly put your life at risk because they didn't want to like follow what you were diagnosed with because they don't believe in it or back it, then that's fucked, and that's not their place, and that's not a good person to be around in general. So fuck that. But if that was something where it could have just been an easy miscommunication and they show genuine like empathy and are apologetic and concerned and like moving forward it's not going to be an issue, then yeah, I think it's totally worth seeing the change that could potentially come to this. Right. I think it's all about the next conversation that happens here. Yeah. And I also just like, if they gaslight you and aren't validating you, then that's really important to acknowledge there too, because Bree's correct. You are within your right to be upset. You were hospitalized. That is no fucking like laughing matter or nothing to take light. That's crazy. Your life was at risk, and that needs to be taken seriously. So how are we going to talk about this? How are we going to deal with this? Right. If it's poorly, then that's why it's important, and I'm happy that we have people that, you know, we can be a voice of reason for too, because at that age, you know, you don't always have somebody to talk about things with. Mm-hmm. And it's important to get different perspectives too, especially if you don't have that outlet. Because you don't know if you're being, like, biased or this way or that. So that's why I'm like, this conversation needs to be addressed now. Yeah.
And I think that part of the conversation should even be, it shouldn't take a medical emergency for
that's
your
unfortunate
wishes to be respected.
And that's a little concerning for me, too. Yeah. And I'm sorry that that it took that. Yeah. If anything, that's crazy too, and that should also be addressed. Yeah. If it is genuine apologetic, like that you get from them, it also needs to be talked about that, like, moving forward, if I tell you something, know that I'm telling you that, and and it's not going to get to this point again.
Yeah, and because that goes for anything, any part of your life where, like, if there is anything that you, and any part of your life, to anyone in your life. Mm-hmm. If you have a wish, or whether it's literally absolutely necessary for medical reasons or comfort or whatever, you know, whatever the boundary is that you're setting, if you have asked and you've made it clear that this is the situation for you and that's not being respected, then that's where you lose the trust in that person. And that's where, like you said, going back to the other episodes when we talked about it, that's when it needs to be earned. Yeah. And that's when that person maybe kind of loses that title of family. Mm-hmm. And because that is obviously something that needs to be thought of seriously, and you don't want to jump into it, but you also don't want to hurt yourself too many times before you're making a big decision and just kind of that declaration of like, I'm cutting ties. 'Cause that is something, that is a right you have to exercise.
Yeah.
You know, you absolutely, if you are in danger or if you are just not being respected while you're trying to respect these other people, then that's not a good relationship. And I think all of that to say, when you said, should I give them another chance because they're family? Maybe that's not the best way to think about it.
No, it's not. That's the absolute incorrect way. Because then I feel like that puts you in a position to always use that argument. And just because they're family is not the reason why you should do something.
Right.
It's, do you give them another chance because they love you and care about you?
Exactly. And I was going to say basically the same of, to give them another chance because you love them and because this is somebody that you want to work to keep in your life. But if you are working to keep them in your life and they don't reciprocate that, that's when you absolutely question it, you know, and if you should cut those ties.
Yeah.
Because if it's hurting you or if it's just detrimental to you, that's not someone that you have to keep in your life.
Yeah. And maybe potentially that's why the question of age is a good question here, because maybe it's not that extreme and they're just incredibly forgetful people. I don't want to give that excuse because we obviously don't have that answer, but then they're obviously not in charge of desserts moving forward.
Yeah.
End of discussion there. But also, if it's something where you do end up giving another chance, then absolutely make sure those boundaries are loud and fucking clear moving forward.
Yeah.
And next time there's events, be very distinct about like what's in what.
Yeah.
This is obviously just, and that's the thing that kind of upsets me here, is it's just like boundaries and things should be taken seriously no matter like your opinion on them.
Right.
But like, it's unfortunate, but now you have to be so much more clear moving forward to avoid that. And that would also be an important factor here, is how they approach that moving forward as well.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel that love and security, then I think those are your answers.
Yeah. And the not fun part of this is that it is something that is your responsibility. And maybe you did ask before you had the dessert if it had cinnamon in it, and they were pretty sure it didn't, or they were like, no, I don't think so, or they even said no. I guess you just have to, it's kind of learning on your side too, where it's like, you have to know for sure. And if you don't know for sure, like they don't have proof that it doesn't have cinnamon in it, or you don't have somebody else taste it.
Did you not taste the cinnamon?
Who knows? I mean, I have half my taste right now, half my scent and taste right now. So, I mean, there's a good chance that she didn't taste it. But it is just like, it is one of those unfortunate responsibilities that you have, because it is very important to your health and safety. Like, I have a cousin who has a very, very serious peanut allergy, and she always has a pen with her and has to ask everywhere when we're going out and stuff like that. She asks, and she's become, it was uncomfortable at first, and probably you feel like a burden, but you don't feel like a burden because it's very, very serious to your health and safety. So it's just a normal thing now, and she asks everywhere, like to the extent that she needs to, and as a backup has that pen. So I don't know if an EpiPen is something that can help you with this. And I know that it's not cheap either, unfortunately, this thing that can literally save your life. But just like those precautions that need to be put in place, that it is a little bit your responsibility too. But I'm not saying that to be like, you didn't ask, because you very well may have. You just didn't mention it in the story. I don't know if you did or not. But yeah, it's just one of those annoying things where you have to make sure, and especially somebody that has already shown that, like, maybe they didn't listen, or maybe they accidentally put the cinnamon in there. You have to really, really make sure with these people now, and just with anybody in that situation. So, we totally understand where you're coming from, and you are absolutely valid in being upset and being hurt, especially I can't imagine being hospitalized from a family member. And there's definitely questions and a conversation that needs to be had when you're ready to have that conversation. Have it at a time where you feel like you won't get too emotional, like too elevated. 'Cause emotions are allowed, but as long as you feel like you can have like a grown-up conversation.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think it's important here too, the approach.
Yeah.
Because since the write-in didn't make it sound like it was certain that they knew, I think Bree's correct that the approach needs to be a little bit well thought out on how you want to discuss it, because I also think that's how you're going to get the most genuine information. And I think we're both just advocates of not speaking in anger, because I also don't think it's productive, and I don't think you accomplish anything.
Right.
Because you also just like black out when you're in anger, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I just feel like whenever I'm shouting and I'm screaming, I don't learn anything, think about anything, and I can't get a good read on the person.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, please just take some time to think about this. Maybe even write down what you want to address, how you want to address it.
Absolutely.
And then just read into their reaction, because that's everything that you're going to know moving forward. If they're not apologetic towards you, they don't take it seriously what happened, then I think you're completely within your right to approach that relationship that you have with them in a different light. And just because they're family, just because you're young, you don't owe them anything if they're not going to respect that part of your fucking life, your safety. But if it's something where, they're really sorry, they seem like that was a genuine, honest mistake, it's not something they ever want to, put your life in danger like that. I mean, let's talk.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, and it's not like, oh yeah, let me just stay the night at your house now.
Right.
Grandma, I feel so safe.
Right.
What are you making for breakfast? No, it's not going to be like that, but I think it's maybe you can approach with caution.
Yeah.
And see how things go from there. And and just moving forward as well, when you have just questions for yourself in general, don't approach it with the family aspect. Approach it with, am I being treated like a human being? Am I being loved how a person should be loved? Because
it's just how I'm trying to give love.
Exactly.
Is it being reciprocated?
So we love you.
Yes. Stay safe. I'm so sorry that you have this intolerance or this allergy.
My advice to you also moving forward is making sure you're advocating for that too.
Yeah,
that your safety is known.
self-advocacy.
Yeah. Make it known. Be loud about it. It's your life, babe.
Yeah.
And we want you here.
Yes. And if this is a family where food is the love language and they're going to be offended if you're not eating what they made, one, that's not...
It's fucking dumb.
Yeah, that's not a good dynamic. But two, then they can make another version that's
Love
not going to kill you.
me a different way, baby.
Like when my younger sister was vegan, we made, for Thanksgiving and stuff, we would make another version that she can eat. So, because we love her and we still want to include her. We don't want to be like, okay, go over there and eat whatever. Go eat some French fries, because that's all we can think to make for you.
Seriously.
But, so, yeah, there's ways to show love and respect of your boundaries.
Yeah.
So hopefully they start doing that. And if you do feel comfortable in having this conversation, when it is that you feel comfortable, best of luck with that conversation.
And until then, I think distance is fine.
Yeah.
In my opinion. You don't need to make up my suggestion is don't make up your mind right away. Take some time to think about everything. But I highly recommend approaching it and having a conversation with those involved and then making choices. But if you need the time, take it, because this isn't an easy one to make.
Yeah.
But I do applaud you for even speaking on it. It's hard to do, especially at your age. So I'm really proud of you for that.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we got to talk to you.
Yeah.
So, but
Thank you
just
for sharing.
take your time with it. It's not easy. And these are really tough conversations, but also it's going to put you in a great place to keep advocating for yourself.
Absolutely.
And having hard conversations moving forward.
And if anybody else has anything else they want to share with us, like we said, you can let us know. Email us, rentfreeroommates@gmail.com.
Yes.
Thank you to our writers, and to any new writers, you are welcome, please.
Yes.
We miss you guys. We just want to talk.
Bree's gonna get it together by the next episode. I promise. I promise. And no, she'll be better. I'll make damn sure of it. I'm gonna give her all the vitamins.
I'm really trying. I don't want to be sick anymore. I hate this. I get so mad when I get sick.
It's not a good look.
It's so embarrassing. Who gets sick anymore?
So awkward. But we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.